Hello, all my friends on Facebook, on Zoom, on the phone. Thank you all so much for being here. We are in day 1 of the Vice Freedom Challenge. So I just want to ask you, what is your habit, your vice that you want to release that would make this just the biggest difference for you in your life for 2018? Laws. For me, it's been about identifying and releasing habits, patterns, behaviors, thoughts, perspectives that keep me limited, and then shift them so that I can know my life and myself as unlimited. For me, that really is my work. And so this is my invitation for you during the next 7 days during the Vice Freedom Challenge. And for those of you that will continue with me for the entire month of January and into February, which I'll share later how you can do this. But I want to define a vice as any behavior that someone craves temporary relief from or pleasure from and does in the long term and can't seem to give it up or are suffering some negative consequences. So another way of looking at this, another way of looking at it from a perspective of a vice is you're a human being. Hello to all of you, saying hello to me. You're a human being that craves some kind of habit, whether it's an internal habit or an external habit, in order to self-soothe. So some consequences can be bigger than others. Some can have effect on your health, on your wallet, on your ability to truly find the joy and peace within. And some of them are what you manifest just from the fact that you're limiting yourself by this pattern. It could be an internal pattern of thinking or something that you're doing behaviorally. But I want you to say right now, I just want to start from this place. Vices or habits are not the problem. It's an attempt to solve a problem. So hello to all of you saying hi to me. So a vice, whether it's an internal pattern such as judging, criticizing, complaining, playing the rescuer where you always have to be thinking of other people instead of yourself and always have to play Mr. or Mrs. Fix-It, playing the victim where you're on the other side of that. No matter what I seem to do, I can't seem to get ahead, I can't seem to lose the weight, I can't seem to whatever it is, that's victim mentality. Or just being deeply rooted in some form of lack or limitation. Or, so that's the one, that's the internal vices that we do, the internal habits or patterns that hold us back. Or outer habits, outer behaviors such as smoking, shopping, eating too much of anything, whether it's sugar, food, doesn't matter, drinking or consuming too much coffee, soda. Any of those are a way, it's an attempt for us to feel better in some way. So we are going to look at these habits, these patterns, behaviors without judgment. Because we're trying to do as a human being the best that we can do, or the best that we know how. And putting a judgment on what we're doing is actually making it worse. And I'm gonna share with you what that energetic pattern is and how it keeps us stuck. So another way I want you to think about this is that vices are tools. And these tools work for a bit of time, but then they stop working. So the process that happens is that you're in your day-to-day, whatever, you're at work, you're with your partner, you're by yourself, whatever, in some way, whatever that looks like, you don't feel good. You don't feel connected. So you look for something either to do or a pattern, a way of thinking. Maybe you start feeling bad about yourself, maybe you start complaining about your life. So it's either a outer behavior that you do, you go and smoke a joint, or you go and grab more coffee, or you go and grab alcohol, or you go and grab cigarettes, or you go shopping, or you workaholic, or on Facebook all day. Whatever it is, these outer things, or an internal way, you use your tool, whatever the tool is. And it works for a bit until we become more evolved and get beyond these tools, that we need tools that actually work. And there are certain payoffs, and we're going to discuss this. We're here for 7 days. 7 days of this Vice Freedom Challenge. And each day I'm going to give you more pieces of the puzzle. I wish I could teach you everything all at once, but I can't. And it has to come in, pieces and chunks. But there are payoffs. And in the next couple of days, we're going to really look at what those payoffs are. But, what they are, why we use them, they do give us some kind of relief from pain. They help us feel in control in some areas of our lives where we don't. They help us escape from maybe lower level emotions like anxiety or even feeling loneliness. So with law of attraction, and this is the first, law that we're going to talk about over the next 7 days, is how it relates to vices and these tools, and that it's a temporary fix and it's actually not helping you manifest what you want. So from a very basic level, law of attraction is always responding to our vibration. Think of yourself as an energy tower, sending out a signal all day, every day. When you think a thought, a signal goes out. When you hold a perspective, the signal goes out. When you do something physical, like smoke a cigarette, or smoke a joint, or grab something, maybe your 10th cup of coffee for the day, or your 6th Diet Coke for the day, whatever the or you're going shopping for another purse that you don't need, whatever the outer behavior is, or the inner, because it's all coming out. It's all energy. We are energy towers sending out signals all day, every day that the universe is responding to. It's law of attraction. We're in a vibrational universe. So whatever vices we are doing, whatever tools we are using, these are the things that are also sending out signals. And many times are limiting us because we're not in touch with what's really energetically going on. We're masking it. We're masking it, using it as a tool to try to feel better, even if it's just temporary relief. So if the law of attraction is always responding to our vibration, and it is, and if we're using a vice to temporarily try to get away from our pain or our discomfort or whatever you want to call it, a lower level emotion to escape, it never works because your set point is the same, and you cannot outsmart the universe. You can't out-tool the universe. The universe is still going to be responding to the vibration that you are giving out. The set point stays the same. And the things that we've been using as a tool limits us in some way. So before we begin the practice for today, one of the things I want to say is that please start today, January 1st. Happy New Year, everybody. Clean slate, reset button. Everybody see a big, huge button in front of you right now, and it's a reset button. I want everybody to just push this button. Just push the button and say, today I am resetting. This is a reset. Here we go. Today is fresh, it's brand new, it's the first day of the rest of your life. Clean slate, blank canvas. What are you going to do with this whole entire 365 days that you have, this year ahead of you? Well, let's pick up some different tools. Instead of using the hammer, let's use the Sawzall. Instead of using the screwdriver, let's use the pliers. Let's use the tools that actually work. Let's push the right reset button, because what every single person is wanting, whether they think they want a new car, a husband, greater success in their career, money in the bank, whatever, every single person is wanting aliveness. You're wanting growth. How do I know that? Because the divine inside of you, that unique expression of who you are, never, ever, ever anybody else on the planet has ever been like you before. Never, with all of your circumstances, all of your situations, your stories, all of it, everything to this moment, this brought you to who you are today. Nobody's like you. Yeah, sure, we all put our pants on the same way. Our hearts beat pretty much the same way. You know, we have the same kind of stuff going on, right? Everybody has their own issues or demons or whatever you want to call it. But we're all unique and special. We're a facet of a diamond that just has never existed before and never will exist ever again. Unique unto all the world. And the reason for this is because the divine is wanting to have a unique experience of itself as you. So that's why you get the desires that you get. That's why you have the ideas that you have. That's why you are moving forward in the form that you have. And those desires and the things that you think that you want to manifest, all is because you want to return home to the only place that is the true fulfillment, and that's knowing yourself as the divine that you are. Bottom line. And when we feel disconnected from that part of us, when we feel lonely, when we're feeling anxious because we don't know how we're going to pay the bills, or we feel anxious because something's happening or we don't know what the future is going to hold, we go and escape or use these tools that no longer serve us. So that's why we use the vices that we use. Now, I'd like to give you, over the next several days, I'd like to give you lots of different tools that's actually going to turn you to the only divine-shaped vacuum that exists, and the only thing that can actually make you feel better in the long term and in the short term is the divine, is the connection to the divine. So if you're feeling lonely, it's because you're disconnected from your divine. If you're feeling anxious, it's because you're disconnected from the divine and all of the amazing qualities that it brings: the love, the connection, the security, the peace, the protection, all of it. If you knew who you really were and you had your deep connection with it, you wouldn't feel any anxiety. If you knew that your future was so amazingly bright and that you have everything that you need and want, you're going to feel better in your now. And when you've released the traumas of the past, when you've released the emotional stuff that makes you feel the way you feel, that makes you want to go and escape and use these tools, then you'd be in a place of healing. And so that's what we're going to be doing over the next 7 days. That's what we're going to be doing for the whole entire month of January. And for those of you that join us before January 10th, you're actually going to get a whole entire month of meditations, 20 minutes a day with me for free for February, and I'll tell you all about that before. So before we begin, one of the practices for today, which is non-judgment, we're going to be going through this entire process for the next 7 days. And again, those of you that want to continue with me for the month of January and February, because you'll be getting February as a bonus, you can go to christywhitman.com/vice. So today, and starting today, we need to practice non-judgment, because what happens is the judgment keeps us stuck in this vicious cycle of shame and guilt. So, for example, I'm going to just give an example. Someone, maybe you smoke pot, maybe you drink, maybe you smoke cigarettes, maybe you eat too much sugar, whatever your outward vice is, okay? Or inward vice too. But you do something, you have some kind of behavior, right? So let's just use smoking pot as an example. So you smoke pot. You feel better when you smoke it because it takes you out of your current state of pain, but you have judgments about doing what you're doing. So you're doing this behavior, but now you're judging yourself for doing this behavior. And it's the judgment that creates the shame and the guilt. So a lot of us are walking around and we've got these huge shame tanks that are just so full, and we're so shameful that it makes us feel so bad that we have to continue doing what we're doing to escape ourselves, to escape the shame, to escape the guilty feeling. We're going to play with that today. I'm releasing your shame tanks for you today. We're pushing the reset button, right? Pushed it. If you haven't pushed it yet, push it. So the shame and the guilt makes you feel so bad about yourself, you reach for more of the pot or whatever your substance is. You go shopping, you drink too much soda, or the inner vices of complaining and judging and criticizing, or playing the rescuer or playing the victim. So one of the things that we'll be doing is stopping the judgments about the tools. Because from a divine perspective, once again, you're wanting to feel good. We're born wanting to feel good. We're born wanting to connect with the divine inside of us, who is always in that place of feeling good. So instead of learning the processes and tools to escape, that which most of us have been doing in some level, right? let's learn the processes and tools to connect with the only true and real thing that can give us a sense of inner peace and contentment and fulfillment. And if we do what we learned or saw other people doing, we reach for those things and that things we have access to. So for example, if you saw your mom playing the victim and she got what she wanted by doing that, then we take on that vice or that habit. Or if we saw our sister or our older brother smoke pot or smoke cigarettes or fill in the blank, whatever it is for you in your life situation, food, alcohol, shopping, working, whatever it is, to just try to feel better about life or to self-soothe from the pain and disconnection that you feel inside, that's what we learned. So now it's just time to learn something else. Agreed? So right now, what I'd like you to do is I'd like you to just forgive yourself. In this moment, for all the sugar that you've eaten, for all the cigarettes that you smoked, for all the shopping that you've done, for all the coffee that you drank until you were jittery, for all the times that you were complaining about the life that you have, for all the times that you judged others or yourself. Right now, in this moment, just say to yourself, I forgive. If I would have known better, I would have done better. If I would have had access to a different tool, I would have done that. Today is a reset button, pushing it on forgiveness of what's been done in the past, and we're not judging ourselves anymore in the future. So forgive yourself. Pushing the reset button means forgiving yourself. I forgive myself. And what I'd like you to do, and you may want to close your eyes for this, just allow any place in your body that you've been holding as judgment, that you've been holding against yourself, just allow yourself to release. Forgive yourself. Energy is everything. Energy is so important. From a law of attraction perspective, if you judge yourself, you disconnect yourself further from the divine inside of you. You disconnect yourself from the good, loving feelings that the divine has about you and thinks about you all day, every day. We're in resistance and not allowing. And then the law of attraction will bring us more resistance. We're going to be talking about the law of allowing on day 3. So there's a lot going on when we use a vice. And some of you may have more than one vice. I remember I would work really hard and then go shopping. And I would justify my shopping because I worked really hard. And so there's these vices going on hand in hand. And both of them were trying to get me to a place. There were tools to get me to feel better about myself. Because if I just made more money or if I just accomplished more stuff, then I could go shopping and buy more stuff and then buy more stuff because I could buy the stuff for the work. Or, whatever it is. Some of you may smoke, drink, do many things. I'm asking you to look at one vice and look at that vice as a blessing. Because that vice is a point for your conscious awareness, for you to realize that every time you reach for that coffee. Now, I'm not talking about a cup of coffee in the morning. I'm talking about drinking coffee all day, every day, just to, keep your energy up or just to feel like or smoking a cigarette or smoking pot or whatever your vice is, or complaining all day long. Whatever it is. Every time you hear yourself start to complain, think it's a connection that you want to connect with your divine. Every time you reach for that coffee or want to reach for a cigarette, that is an indication that you are wanting a connection with your divine. Come from that place. There's nothing you need to hold on to anymore. Do not judge yourself. Please forgive yourself. We're going to go into releasing the shame tank in just a minute, but this information is important to get there. So, the next 7 days, and for many of you in the next couple months, we're going to unpack these vices and their uses and align you with the only one thing that will give you relief and help you feel the connection that each one of us craves. So here's the thing. I'm not going to ask you to stop your vice today. If you're not ready, that's fine. Some of you are ready. Some of you are like, all right, I'm ready to give up the sugar today. I will let you know that if it's a physical thing, you may have for only 3 days, it takes your body only 3 days, whether it's coffee, so caffeine, sugar, any other substance, 3 days to let go of this. Even if it's cigarettes or pot, 3 days to release from your body. So your body may go through, some detox. So I'm just saying that. Some of you may need a lot more inner work and deeper connection and learn the tools before you release your old tool. So if you have a pattern or a habit that's internal, I'm going to ask you to stop. If you are a complainer, or you judge, or you criticize, or you're in lack, stop it now. There's nothing physical that's going to happen to you. I'm going to give you some tools. Again, complaining is an indication you're in lack and you want to connect with your abundance. Judging means that you don't like something the way it is and you want something different. So what is it that you do want? So there are things internally or externally that we are going to start just becoming. It's all about consciousness. Becoming aware that these tools are an indication that you want to connect deeper. And there's no judgment, right? And there's just complete forgiveness. Complete forgiveness. Lisa's saying, so true. 3 days smoke-free for 24 years. I'm 21 years smoke-free of cigarettes, pack and a half a day. So I am not telling you anything that I have not done time and time again to release internal and external vices. This process works, and I'm taking you through my process. I've never taught this to anybody before. I've just done this for myself. And this works because what happens is, from an energetic perspective, from law of attraction, we as human beings, as just the lower level human being, right, from thinking from a very young perspective, we like our habits. We like habits for us, help us feel safe. They help us feel like there's some kind of security. It's like a baby with security blanket. There's something that we do because as children, having structure, having some kind of thing that you do every day makes us feel safe. Well, we're no different as an adult. Doing these things, whether it's smoking a cigarette 20 times a day, even though it's bad for us and we're probably beating ourselves up and judging ourselves for it all day, every day, it's something that is common to us. We are in our comfort zone of doing it. Going and getting, coffee 3 times a day from Starbucks or from any other place, there's a comfort in going and seeing that guy. I go to AJ's, for example, in the middle of the day, and there's this guy who reminds me of one of my dearest friends, John. He's just this buff, gruff, guy. And seeing him, it's like, hey, there's that connection. There's that habit. So we as adults, even, as our lower selves personality, and there's nothing wrong with that. I am not beating up the ego. We need our personalities. But that's how we feel safe in the world. So we just need to learn different things. What could we do instead of going to AJ's and picking up that thing and seeing that guy? Could we go and dance with the divine for a little bit? Instead of going outside and grabbing that cigarette, there's your indication that you're wanting a deeper connection to something inside of yourself. So we're just learning new tools here. So again, I'm not going to ask you to stop your vice today, but I will say this. Part of the problem and what part of the issue of having a vice is we're trying to escape something. And if we're still doing the thing that's helping us escape, we're not going to get to the underlying real vibrations and feelings that are happening. So this stuff is helping you escape. So I'm not going to ask you to stop if you're not ready, but I'm going to get you ready. And I do want to say that's not the vice or the tool. Again, that's the problem. It's what it's masking or what it's helping you escape. And when you're not using it, then and only then can you truly find what and become aware. It's all about consciousness, what you are escaping from, and then we can heal. So I encourage you to stop the behavior. And in the next couple of days, I'm going to give you more replacement tools. But today is really important because we got to release the shame. So not everybody's going to join us before I get into this exercise, but for those of you that do, you're going to find at least 50 different techniques and processes or new tools to replace the need or the desire for the vices that no longer serve you anymore. So I'm going to give you, several keys to help you release the vice and love your life just during the 7 days together. So you can go to christywhitman.com/vice if you're ready to join for the month of January, the whole entire month of January. Plus, for those that join before January 10th, you get the whole month of February meditations, just 20 minutes a day, to help raise your vibration and connect with your divine. That's a $497 value just as a bonus. So I want to just say this before we go into the process. The rock and roll band sang in their song, Rush. If you guys ever remember Rush, the rock and roll band, they sang in their song, Free Will. If you choose not to decide, you have still made a choice. So choose something. Choose something that is holding you back from living your greatness. Choose something that you are going to release, because if you're staying in the behaviors, here's a little tidbit of law of allowing, but if you're staying in the place of keeping everything that you have, the thoughts, the perspective, the behaviors, nothing can change. Everything's energy. If you release something, you make way for something new. In order to bring in abundance into your life, you have to let go of lack. You can't get pregnant if you're pregnant. So if you want better health, you have to release the things that are creating the disease, the disconnection. So we're just releasing the old, which no longer serves, and bringing in what does. Okay? But I'm asking you to make a choice. What is the choice? What is the vice for you today that you are giving up? Make a choice. If you choose not to decide, you've still made a choice. So choose something. Choose something to give up that you know is keeping you stuck. If you haven't listened to the meditation, the New Year's Eve meditation yesterday, in that process, the higher self gave you what is probably the top number one thing, and you can go back and listen to that recording, but it's the top number one thing to release. See, we're all addicted or use vices in our life because as a person, as a human being, we need our habits. It makes us comfortable. Even if the thing that we choose to do is not a good tool for us. I mean, real quick, I wanted to just say this. I mean, I've done my share of drugs. And I never did anything heavy because I watched my sister just completely destroy her life with cocaine. But I was heavily addicted to cigarettes. I smoked a pack and a half a day. I moved on to being a workaholic and then a shopaholic, just justifying that I could shop because it was for work. I get the shame. I get the feeling of being lost and out of control. And I saw my sister firsthand, who no longer is with us. It's going to be 20 years in May that she actually took her own life. But I went from Arizona to Chicago with her. I drove with her, and I literally watched her smoke pot, smoke 2 packs of cigarettes a day, snort cocaine, drink a pot of coffee, 6-pack of Diet Coke, handfuls of candy, and on and on and on. And every day went on the same. And I was on the same track as my sister, but not as extreme, thank God. But the feelings of shame, of hating myself, beating myself up, feeling like nobody in the world could possibly understand me, and that there was something fundamentally wrong with me, were causing me so much pain that I was just praying for some type of relief. So I'm happy to say that I received that relief. I received the guidance and inspiration to change my life, and I get the steps to heal no matter what your vice is. I went from being a smoker to a non-smoker. I went from someone that had to have the attention of men in order to feel good about myself to being able to feel good about myself and then attracting a wonderful, amazing, loving man like Frederic. I'm happy to say I'm connected to the divine, and I know real tools to get back when I don't feel connected. We all don't at times, right? So because I am so blessed to be a teacher of universal laws, I'm now ready to teach this and to help you heal, because it's all about healing. Some of you are ready for your breakthroughs today, and you'll receive them during the 7 days with me during this Vice Freedom Challenge. And others, it might take a little bit more of consistency and commitment beyond the 7 days. And I'm here for you if that's what you need. You can learn more about it. Go to christywhitman.com/vice. So, before we go into releasing the shame, In summary for today, law of attraction is always giving you what you are vibrating. And even though you're using a temporary vice to temporarily feel better, after the coffee has been consumed, after the whatever has been smoked, after the complaining has happened, after the sugar has been eaten, after the money has been spent, you go back to your vibrational set point and the law of attraction will consistently give you more of the same. So unless you find a new tool to fill you up, one that actually connects you to the stream of high vibrational energy of love and appreciation and gratitude and contentment and excitement and passion and inspiration and abundance and prosperity and success, we look for love in all the wrong places. So if your vice has been working for you and you're happy in your life, wonderful. But if you want your changes and you need these changes and different tools, here we go. So exercise for today, we're releasing our shame tank. First step, we have to release the judgment. We have to release the shame. So go ahead and take a deep breath in and close your eyes. And allow yourself to feel yourself as an energetic being. Whether you know it or not, most of you is energy. Most of you is vibration. And I'd like you to go into your mind, dropping, most of you are in your head anyway, dropping from your head, dropping your energy and your attention, your focus, your concentration, your consciousness into your heart. And then breathing more into your lower dantian, your power center, your hara. So from the head, the heart to the hara. The lower part of you, which is actually your emotional body. So it's a reproductive area. Some call it the gut. This is where the emotions are held. This is where our shame tanks are. So what I'd like you to do is, just for this moment, just for the release of this time, don't have to put a story with it. You don't have to justify why you have it. I just want you to find the energy of the shame and the guilt that you hold inside your emotional body, inside your gut, inside your power center, because all this shame, all this guilt is keeping you and preventing you from owning your true power, is keeping you from preventing you from going back to the divine. So find the pulsation, whatever energy is pulsating there in your gut. And even if you can't feel the pulsation, try to feel the pulse in your body. And just with your intention to do so, find the place within you that feels like a lower level vibration. That just doesn't feel like a good energetic thing that you want to sit with. It could feel like anxiety, it could feel like fear. You don't have to name it. You don't have to tell a story about it. Just find the energy of it. And once you find that energy, hold on to it. We're going on a ride, and this ride only takes about 90 seconds to actually process through and out of you. So breathe in, and many of you, for the first time, feel yourself. Feel your emotions. Tears might come out of your eyes. That's okay. It's a release. Remember, you cannot create anything new if you're not willing to release. So find the pulsation of the shame, the guilt, any place within yourself that's causing you some kind of lower level vibration. Find that pulsation and stick with it and just see it as energy. Just see it start to release from your body. Start to move out from your physical body. See the shame tank just starting to empty. Almost imagine, if you will, that you had a spout that you can just turn on and just release all of the shame. Just releasing it back into Mother Earth, who will take that energy and reuse and recycle. Just emptying out everything that's in there. The thoughts that go with it, that there's something wrong with you, all the judgments that go with it, that you did something bad, Just releasing everything that is in your shame tank. Everything that's in your guilt tank. Releasing all of that energy, sticking with it, riding the wave, allowing it to just dissipate and release. Letting all of it just dissipate and release. And then imagine about a foot above your head is a golden ball of light, and allow that light to come down through the top of your head, filling up that space inside of you. This is energy work, and this is the most important work you can do in the universe. Everything is energy. We live in a vibratory universe, and if we're not paying attention to energy, we're not truly changing anything, we're not truly healing anything. Go allow the energy, this light and this love, this divine connection, to go in through every single cell in your body and fill up, which is no longer shame tank, it's now a love tank. Fill up yourself with self-love. Fill up yourself with light. Allow yourself to do this first beginning stage of healing, allowing it to go through all your legs, out through your feet, going back down into Mother Earth. Allowing yourself to just release. And for today, as you come back into the room, allow yourself to feel compassion instead of judgment. Whenever you go to judge yourself, something you're doing, a behavior, allow yourself to feel an understanding and empathy and compassion for yourself, that you're doing what you're doing because you're trying to feel better. And you just need a new way of learning how to do that. No judgment. And when you do the judgment, or when you find yourself complaining, or when you find yourself doing the old patterns, immediately forgive yourself and fill yourself up with the energy of love and light. So each day I'm going to give you an affirmation. And the affirmation for today as we come back is, I allow myself to have more than I ever dreamed possible. Allow myself to have more than I ever dreamed possible. Today was the first step, and this is the first tool. We are always in an emotional space. We're emotional beings, and somehow we've judged, ooh, that's bad, this is good. Don't want to feel that, so I'm going to cut off from myself and escape. What I just gave you today as the energy release, this is the first tool in knowing yourself as an emotional being, because we are, as an energetic being. Releasing the energy and bringing in a new frequency and vibration is key to changing anything you want. So, I've given you the affirmations. Practice those when you find yourself wanting to go back. I allow myself to have more than I ever dreamed possible, and then expand into what that feeling feels like. So, congratulations for being with me for the first day of the Vice Freedom Challenge. You have done some major work today. Whether it feels like it or not, energy work is always healing work. So I'm excited to see all of you tomorrow. We are going to be discussing and working with the law of deliberate creation and more of your unlimited beingness. So for today, just notice the ways your vice limit you and ask yourself if you would like a new way of living. Connect with your divine the best way you can. First, by releasing all the icky, yucky energy, bringing in the new. And Happy New Year, everybody. Have a wonderful day. Bye.